because if I can't hardly listen to podcasts.
It's hard when you can't put a face to it.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy. A friend of mine, actually, a guy what I was doing a show with, down at the Story Inn, he goes, "Hey, did you hear you were on Pat McAfee's podcast?" And I was like, "No,
that's wild.
I don't listen. Well, where do I find it?" And I have a podcast. I can't. I tried. I
didn't listen to any until we started doing this.
And I still can't. I have to, when I listen to Pat's, I watch it on, bits of it.
Right.
I can't just sit there. I tried listening to Fortunes the other day because I hosted for her, and I was like, I want to listen to her podcast because I got to meet her mom, and all of her fans were like, "Oh, Ginger," and her mom and everything. And I was just like, I should listen. I tried. I tried. Yeah. If I'm, doing something and want to listen to something, I would rather listen to music.
Oh yeah, that was one thing we talked about.
I'm visual.
I think both of us listen to less music now.
I do.
That we do this, which is weird because we both listen to a handful of different podcasts.
Really? See, and I try if they're too long.
Yeah.
That's why we we don't like to go much over an hour. No more than an hour and a half, and we don't usually hit that
because it's hard to get people to commit to.
Even an hour.
Joe Rogan, some of those are 3 hours. I can't sit and listen,
an hour,
even if it's interesting.
That's a commitment.
Yeah, and I watched one of his. It was on stem cell, and that's what got me into stem cell research.
He has cool guests.
And that's the only one of his that I've actually watched, like the full episode. Was when he had. I think it was Mel Gibson on there too, talking about the stem cell transplants.
Yeah, I've seen that one.
That's kind of what part of my documentary that they're doing about me is about stem cell, because part of the documentary was going to take me to Panama where he had done that. He's the one that stirred that up in me of wanting to do it. So.
That's crazy.
Well, I'm going to introduce you now. Let's no, you're fine. Let's just talk. That's a great point to go in. So if you joined us now, we actually have our first celebrity on the podcast. I've never had a celebrity in my house, so we're kind of excited. She's big time.
No.
Podcaster, the Gays of Our Lives podcast. Got to check it out.
I love that name, by the way.
Thank you.
I was crying when I heard that. That was a good one.
I like it better on video. If you're like me and watch video, we have it on video.
Number one comedian in Indianapolis. What's up?
Yeah, that's cool.
You don't have to be modest here. You're number one. That's a freaking great title to have.
Okay, I'm gonna be honest. If I went in front of judges, I would not be the best comedian. Pat McAfee is a good comedian if you like him.
Yeah.
If you don't like him or you don't know him,
right, it's different.
He's average, just like me. I'm good. I am good. I am not up there.
Yeah.
I mean, I honestly didn't believe I beat Ryan Niemöller, who's on America's Got Talent. And I mean, he was the sponsored comedian. I was like, this isn't right.
He got second.
Yeah, but I'm like, that's not right.
What were the qualifying factors?
People.
It was
guess what? I'm
fans.
a salesperson. I'm a salesperson. I know how to market and network. People all over Indiana know who I am or know of me. And people, that's the thing with comedians. They don't understand all this stuff I've gotten is because of networking and marketing, period. The end. It's not because I'm a good comedian or good actor.
I've talked about this before, but
not the best.
I do a lot of our social media, most of it, and it's a full-time job.
It is.
I mean, I love it. And the more I learn about it, like advertising and marketing and all that, I really think I found my niche in the world.
I need help. I need a social media guru, assistant. I mean, I just need, because my thumbs are tired.
Oh, no kidding. That's what I spend 2 or 3 hours a day at least.
And that's all I do, and friends tease me about hashtags and they don't realize. Have you ever heard of Raw Artist?
Yeah.
Well, I was YouTubing you and I saw you were.
I have a friend who used to play there.
I had no clue what Raw Artist was. And somebody reached out to me about it because they found something from one of my hashtags on Instagram. They saw one of my bits and they were like, "You're funny. You should be on Raw Artist."
Right.
They probably get anybody that hasn't been on there, But it's a really cool thing. It's artists, it's body painters, it's photographers, it's clothing.
Yeah,
designers,
they host a whole art gallery and everything.
And I never, until that point, because this was early on, never really looked at myself as an artist. Because I never wanted to be a comedian. I never have. It's just different. I never watch stand-up comedy hardly.
Right.
It's never been a dream or anything. So, and I was like, I guess I am an artist. I just never really put it in that category. You know what I mean?
I would classify the podcast as a form of art, any type of expression like that.
But when I first got started, and I'm like, Oh, I am an artist.
See, that's a totally foreign concept, I think, for both of us, because we've both been musicians for so long. That
So you are a musician. You're an
I've
artist.
always classified myself that way, or any type of expression.
But I think of a painter or a musician, an artist, and I just in my head it just wasn't a comedian.
Right.
Not any disrespect of, because that is it. Absolutely,
it is.
Oh
art. Yeah, it's a craft.
And I never. Yeah, and I, it's weird. I just never really, it didn't click to me.
Do you write your comedy a lot, or does it? Because there's different opinions.
Yeah, everyone. And everybody has a different approach. Some people are very conversationally funny. That's probably more.
I hear some comedians say like, I need to dedicate time towards writing, and then there's others that like, no, I don't write at all. I kind of just go out and it's more improv.
In LA, I stayed with a fellow comedian out there at her apartment and her girlfriend. And she was like, I can't hang out on Monday. I've got to work. And I was like, what exactly do you do on her comedy? She goes, she said, I have to translate, or what do you do when you're with the script? Not translate.
Notate.
Transcribe my script, my set from last night, and go through it bit by bit. And I was like, what?
Right. She's breaking down this craft way too far.
No, not way too far.
For her.
That's what her style is. And I just it never dawned on me that, wow, like I've said, when somebody said, would you want a headline? No, that's too much work. And to remember that much material, I have chemo brain and MS brain, and, but whatever. And, my memory is horrible. Yeah. I'll tell you the same story 3 times and not realize it.
Yeah, I'm the same way.
I considered one time doing an open mic at Crackers, and they're like, the first time you come, it's you get 3 minutes. And then when you're at home, like trying to do it, you don't realize how long those 3 minutes really are. Like,
yeah, I saw you just did a 15-minute set. I was like, whoa, that's a lot. And I mean, we all watch Netflix specials that are 2 hours long, and you're like, well, that was so easy for him. But 15 minutes is a long time.
And Eliza Schlesinger, I
love her.
I never knew.
She's hilarious.
This one was really funny.
Yeah, and I love her, and I paid for the meet and greet to her.
Cool.
Yeah, that's cool.
Well, see, and here's the other thing I do when I go sit at shows and watch. And not as much to learn as much as I do to network.
Yeah, sure.
Guess what? I'm growing a pink mullet. They don't forget me usually.
Oh yeah.
How Sparks was.
You've really thought so much.
Well, yeah, your marketable edge.
I didn't. This is just who I am, because this is how I've been all my life.
Right.
And it's stupid. I've wanted to grow the mullet back since I went bald from my breast cancer. And we won't name Twat Waffle, my ex, wouldn't let me grow it and made me cut my hair before I was prepared mentally to even cut it after I'd been bald.
Yeah.
And so I haven't dated in 4 years because I'm smart and and I enjoy my time and my money.
It gets harder the older you get too. If you're single, like late into your 20s, it's so much harder to jump into a relationship.
It is so. I'm so much happier than I've ever been.
Oh yeah.
I know. I don't want to change it right now.
Yeah.
Just let it happen naturally. Like, the best things do. Like, if you're not searching for it.
I know. If it comes near me, I'm like, no, bye.
So you're fending off.
Well, you know what? I think that's something, especially like our generation has a hard time with, is learning to separate that time so that you're comfortable with yourself before you try to get comfortable with somebody else.
I always thought I was happy with myself. I thought I was.
Yeah. See, I was the same way, and then I got divorced, and I was like, oh my God, I completely forgot who I was.
45, I am such a different person than I was even 5 years ago.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, the next person that dates me is going to date somebody nobody else ever has.
Exactly.
I mean, I'm actually nicer. I'm still, what rated is this?
Oh, this is not safe for work. So whatever comes, we don't.
Okay.
Yeah, we don't censor.
I mean, I'm still a cunt, but I'm a nicer cunt.
Is that almond?
Stop, don't make me laugh. But I'm a nicer cunt.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm still, trust me, I will get but I do it in the way that it's.
You learn tact over time.
Well, no, I still don't have much tact, but because I'm honest to a fault and I say what I think and it's bad.
I wish more people were like that though, because we play this. Yeah, but only because it's not socially acceptable all the time, right?
Well, when it's about them, then you get in trouble.
Yeah. But I think if we all spoke that way, if we were all a little more blunt about how we felt about things, it would be normal. It wouldn't be so taboo for someone to tell you that you're offending them or you're bothering them. Because that's, now if you see somebody out in public that's like, even if they're the victim in the situation, if they get loud and bitch about it, everyone is automatically against that person. Like, oh, I do not want to deal with this right now. And I like, why? They're standing up for themselves.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, people. I don't know that. I'm not gonna go fight anybody and be
Well,
like,
you know,
just because I'm from Beech Grove doesn't mean I act like the Walmart lady. So, but
Classic.
no, I mean, yeah, right. I was there before Walmart, BW.
Beech Grove was nice.
No, I'm not
Nicer.
saying. Oh God, yeah,
Yeah.
it was.
It's tanked a little in the last 15 years.
It has. All my friends have moved more towards Franklin Township area.
Greenwood area.
So
Franklin Township, yeah. A lot of my kids are flashes now, my god kids and everything. So, but yeah, no, I don't even know what we were talking about. Done. I forget.
No,
really.
So you had mentioned that. So I think it's a little interesting that you're a comedian, but you're not super into comedy, and you've met a lot of like really famous comedians. I saw your picture with like Bert Kreischer. I think he's hilarious. Mentioned that you're doing that to network. Have you who's your
much is learn and watch?
Do you have a favorite comedian or a style that
it's funny
something you gravitate towards?
My funniest my favorite comedians are the ones I know.
So like Pat,
Bert Kreischer.
Oh.
Louis Anderson is above and beyond one of my most favorite humans in this world. If you've ever seen Baskets, who he plays, Christine Baskets, is who he really is as a person, except for the simpleton, because he's actually very intelligent.
Right.
But he is.
I feel like a lot of comedians are.
He really is that person in real life. He has the heart. I mean, I'll get going all day. Bert Kreischer, Louis Anderson, Eliza, because I've met her, and she's super cool in person. There are comedians I don't like because I've met.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm sure.
Hal Sparks is actually an amazing man too. I met him. Oh, Fortune. Oh, she couldn't have been nicer. She really couldn't have. I'm missing a couple.
I think your how you got into comedy is really interesting. If you want to share that, I don't know if you read about that.
So like our people probably haven't heard it, but we are aware of like the Pat Mack story with playing poker. I know you've probably gotten told, asked to tell that story, but I think it's worth telling because it's super interesting. You didn't plan on comedy. You're playing poker one night. Can you kind of tell us how that happened?
Yeah, I am a poker player, and I was playing poker up at the American Legion Fishers, which I am most Friday nights. And all the guys know me there.
Texas Hold'em?
Usually, or Omaha.
Okay. I haven't learned Omaha yet.
Oh, I love it. You can lose $500 in one hand, and you can win 10,000.
Besides poker, real quick, not to sidetrack us, but besides poker, do you gamble too?
Yeah. Why you want to make a bet? How long is the podcast?
No, I like them. I'm big into blackjack and sports gambling. Sports gambling just became legal today. I was trying to.
Is it today?
Yeah, you can go to the Shelbyville Casino and you can bet the sports book now.
They're getting live dealers too. Soon.
Live dealers, yes.
We've been talking about going down there.
Yes.
Live cards and I like craps too. I'll throw some dice, but
I will too. I'm a crappy shooter, but anyways,
7.
Need I regress. So we were. I'm walk in there and everybody's like Sears because everybody calls me Sears, and that's what's so weird to a lot of my close friends that people call me Lissa now. And I'm like, how weird is if Pat McAfee would have gone out there and introduced me as my new friend Sears?
That's my last name is Fada, so that's how everybody knows me. Yeah. But then at work and stuff,
I mean, it used to even be a joke that if you called me Lisa, it's only because we've slept together. Or we've been friends since.
I would never call him Alex ever.
Somebody called me
out. If I was dating
somebody called me out on something once because they called me Lisa to somebody, a friend of mine. She was like, "What?" I was like, "Oh, son of a
busted."
Seriously busted.
Yeah,
because of it.
I had a similar situation. Ran into an ex with a current girlfriend, and she called me by my first name. She's like, "So how do you know her?" I'm like, oh, funny story. I don't.
Yeah, there's a story there if they know the first name.
Yeah.
There's a story.
So, not now though, because I mean, you don't introduce somebody as that it wouldn't make sense on stage. So Lisa made sense. So I fucked everybody now, but not true. I'm so no. So not even close to that. Actually, it's the opposite. Anyways, we won't talk about that. Anyways. So they're all yelling Sears, and I'm like, "Hey, what's up?" And there was a wait list that night, which it was busy, it was packed, and I was like, "Damn it!" And so one of the tables came open, and a seat at one of the tables came open with my buddy that was dealing. I wanted to go sit there, and the girl that was on the list before me, they said, "Well, if she doesn't come back in time, you can have it." And I was like, "Yes."
Nice.
And as soon as I walk into the seat, she came back from the bar, and I was like, So I had to wait for the next seat. The next seat opened up. I sat down. And somebody yelled, "Hey, Sears, did you get the website for Twat Waffle locked up?" That's one of my bits about my ex-girlfriend's name. It's just a figment of a person. It's not, but he was like, the guy next to me goes, "What's that?
What's that, twat waffle?"
He goes, "What's that?" And I said, "Twat waffle. It's my ex." And he goes, and I said, "No, I didn't get the website for Twat Waffle looked up, but I got twatwafflehouse.com. We're going to open up, breakfast."
Waffle House is
down
serious about
69.
suing people. Somebody put like a Waffle House on an album. I remember this, and they sued the shit out of them. But I hope Twat Waffle House, that's a killer one.
Right.
You got to take it. You got to get it.
Breakfast and pie.
Yes.
And only up and down I-69.
Cream pies.
Cheers.
Cherry pies.
But anyways, so, and I am a breast cancer survivor, and I have a breast cancer card cover that you cap your cards with, so they don't get mucked. And he grabbed it and he goes, "Oh, you're a survivor?" And I was like, "Yeah." And he goes, "Right on." He had some stupid IU hat on. I didn't pay him any attention. He looked familiar, just like every person in that damn poker room.
Sure.
There are guys that look familiar that I played poker with for 10 years. I can't tell you their damn names.
Yeah.
They are either
You're just used to seeing that face.
Yeah. And when they're out of place, and stuff like that. And so, we were just bantering and everything. And he ordered a drink and he was in a hand and he was all into it. And the waitress comes and I know her. And she goes, "Is this his?" And I said, "Yeah, here." I threw her a $5 chip, and I always tip $1 for my water. And after he got out of the hand, I said, "Here's a drink." And he's like, "Here," and kept throwing me a $5 chip. I said, "I don't want your fucking money."
Right.
I had no clue who he was. And anyways, after a while, I'm in with the guys and we just joke and I
bullshitting.
Oh my God.
When you play cards, you can't not
eat
bullshit.
a bag of dicks, motherfucker. I'm a dick. I am but it's in fun, and they know
Step your shit talking up,
I'm
people.
Like, I'm gonna flip this motherfucking table, and
that's
then,
half the fun of cards.
And they know I won't ever. I mean, but and so he's like, "You're hilarious." And then somebody was using Snapchat. I hate to admit it, this is the first time I'd ever heard of Snapchat. This was 3.5 years ago, and the kid was at the poker table, and he was at the end. He was like Snapchatting it, and he said something about McAfee, and I looked at him and I said, "You do look like Pat McAfee." And he's like, "I get told that a lot." I said, "He's my favorite Colts player." And so why would I have thought that was him? So I mean, I get told that a lot. Because why not?
What are the chances of this fucking guy sitting next to you?
Right.
Right. Yeah.
So I'm like, he's my favorite player. Him and Matt Overton are the epitome of what a Colts player should be, because they stayed after until every single person got their autograph at Colts camp. And I was there right after it was the month that I got had my double mastectomy. I even had my drainage tubes and everything. And I mean, he stayed after and he's like, keep fighting and everything like that. And I just thought that was, the rest of them were gone. Luck was gone. He'd already eaten dinner by the time they left the field. And I just thought that was awesome, and stuff like that.
Pat's a man of the people.
And he goes, "Oh, I bet he would say he was just lucky to be kicking foosballs." Didn't register. I didn't know him. Didn't know anything about him then. Now, if you said foosballs, I'd be like, "Oh, it's McAfee." You know what I mean? Everybody knows he says that. And I was just like, whatever. And blew it off. Well, then later on, he kept at me about doing poker or doing comedy. And I'm like, he goes, "I know people." And I'm like, "I know people too." Because all the poker players know everything.
Oh, yeah.
I know everything, And I was talking about Penny Lane that ran an open mic. He was talking about Bob, his neighbor from Bob and Tom. His neighbor. Yeah. So about half an hour later, I looked at him and I go, "What is your first name?" He said, "Patrick. It's Irish, just Pat." And I looked at him and I said, "You're a motherfucker." And I just started laughing. And I said, "Can we take a picture together?" And he's like, "Yeah, So we took a picture together and I posted it. I said, "Is it okay if I post it?" And he said, "Yeah." He was going to see Dead Mouse.
Dead Mouse.
Is that right?
Yeah.
I've heard of
Dead
it.
Mouse,
You
the
might know
DJ out in Vegas the next day. He was sober because he had knee surgery and he's in the program.
Oh, yeah. 3 years ago.
Yeah. And so that's why he was playing poker. And then he was going to see Dead Mouse and getting on the flight early. And he goes, "That's a good thing about not drinking." That was why I met him that night. But he played around at different poker games in town. Come to find out after the fact. And I already had his jersey because he was already my favorite player after he stayed after at Colts camp. It was just so.
Anytime you can make that personal connection, it's so much more important.
That's how my favorite comedians are.
That's how I feel about bands too. If I have seen a band live and they had, most of the time they have a good show, but especially if they had a really good show, you listen to that music in a different way.
Bare Naked Ladies, people make fun of me. But
BNL,
they're good live.
Our buddy Matt, who we had on the last show, like he's always doing the chickadee China, the Chinese chicken. Yeah, he can do the whole thing pretty crazy.
I remember he spent a whole summer memorizing that song.
Dude, that's really like my childhood. when I like, there's some nostalgia around some bare naked ladies, and
I saw.
I'm still a big fan.
I saw Third Eye Blind last year. That was pretty cool.
We went and saw Bare Naked Ladies, and somebody closed out the show for him. Hootie.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know. I sat down that whole part of the show.
That's my drunk alter ego.
I was sitting down the whole part of the show. I was like, it's a Bare Naked Ladies show. What do you mean, Hootie? But yeah. So, anyways, I posted it, and he goes, and this is how much I knew about social media. I still don't do Twitter. He goes, "Oh, Kyle Lewis just tweeted me and said, I'm sitting next to his buddy. You know Kyle?" And I was like, "Yeah, how do you know Kyle? That's my buddy." Not thinking Twitter, didn't know what it was. I'm 45, you guys. I mean, I didn't even know what Twitter was, or Snapchat at this point.
Shit, I'm 30 and I can't keep up.
And then I was like, "Oh, he follows you." And I was like, and somebody goes, "Are you sure that's who it was?" I said, "Well, he responded to a friend of mine's Twitter or tweet." You know? And I'm like, "So yeah, I'm sure that's who it was."
We have Matt that comes on our show once in a while. We were at an Applebee's one time, and there's a guy, I swear to God, could be his twin brother. And Matt tweeted at him. He's like, "Hey, it looks like Pat McAfee's at Applebee's." And right, he tweeted back as he goes, "I'm not at fucking Applebee's."
Oh, I figured it was his brother Jason.
I'm not sure who. We never did figure out like who it was, but it looked just like him. It was weird.
His brother.
I didn't know he had are they pretty close in age, obviously, or?
Yeah, not far apart, I don't think. Jason's a little bit older, I believe. Don't kill me for that. His parents are amazing people. I've met them because of doing shows with him. And so we'll not get through this story if we keep sidetracking. I'm bad.
Oh, you're good.
You want to keep it to an hour. Should have taken that bet. But so I was like, you know what? I'll do it. And I called Penny Lane. And I got on her show the first time. It was an open mic, and I brought 40 of my friends.
Oh, yeah.
Because, like the best of indie, I'm popular. And I hate to use that word because that just...
Right, the connotation's different.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But it's not that... And I just know everybody, and I'm still good friends with people since I've been 5.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
See, I'm the same way. I have like a lot of different circles that I float around in. Yep. So you end up meeting a lot of people that way you wouldn't, like I have friends that Ben has probably never even met before. Yep. And we spend a lot of time together. And
my friends, we go down, my girls that we've been friends since we were 5. There's a big group of us. One of them's married to my 5th grade boyfriend even. Yeah. And we go down to Brown County every year. I run into 3 or 4 different sets of people down there.
Oh, yeah.
And they're like, well, the mayor.
What do you go down to Brown County for?
Girls weekend.
You go down like the shops and stuff.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Or do you get, because I
cannot even
I sit outside.
Right.
I like to get one. We used to rent through like the hills of Brown County, and you can get one of the cabins out in the middle of nowhere. Go party, hot tub, light a fire. Like that's like honestly like my kind of vacation, to get out in the middle of nowhere.
It's like not mine.
You not? Or you like go to the city?
Take me to LA or Vegas.
Yeah.
But it's awesome because it's with them. I mean, we've been friends since we were 5.
It's about the people you're with. Yeah. If you're with good people, you can have a good time anywhere.
Do I want to go? No, I don't want to camp. I'm no.
I'm a glamper.
I am a dyke on the outside, but I am so femme on the inside. Don't get dirty. I mean, it's ridiculous.
Well, I'm not out here like roughing it. I'm in a nice cabin. I got TV and Wi-Fi still.
I barely get to keep my gay card. I don't know how to work on cards or anything like that.
I got the best of both worlds. I grew up in Houston, so I appreciate appreciate, big city life, and I would absolutely love living in a big city. And then my grandparents are from here. And so once when I was like, I think I was 13 or 14 when we moved here, I had to learn how to live out in the country. I mean, it was just.
How often do you go to LA?
Well, so I went twice last year, and I think I've been 3 times.
Okay.
Since comedy.
The comedy scene is pretty big.
That's where it's the Mecca.
I've heard a lot of comedians say that's where you need to end up if you want to do this professionally. I know that's not necessarily the truth, but
think about it.
I hear a lot of
How are you professional nowadays?
Through the internet.
What makes you big time?
Oh, I mean, I would say if you can feed yourself and house yourself.
Okay, but I'm saying it's not headlining at the Comedy Store anymore.
That's true. Getting a Netflix special is like the king of
you
comedy.
You can live anywhere.
That's true.
I've made it further being in Indianapolis than.
And I think the comedy scene in Indianapolis is kind of underrated. there's a lot going on.
You said that on the last podcast.
Yeah, because it's not, you don't hear about it very often, but there's a lot of good comedians and good things happening in Indianapolis.
And I mean, I don't know if it's any different than anywhere else. Honestly, I don't know, because I
just don't network in other places like that.
I'll meet a comedian or friend, somewhere else, but I'm not. There's very few that I'm close to, because comedians are a different breed of people, and not that it's negative. A lot of them are very introverts.
Yeah.
Introverted.
Which is contradictory to what most people would think, right?
Mm-hmm.
A good friend of mine that I've known for 15 years, because we played poker together. I didn't know he was a comedian. Dion Curry.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
He's good.
Yeah.
I mean, he's on Miss Pat's podcast, but Pat.
Oh, Miss Pat. She's hilarious.
And he is open for her for many years. Well, I was at Morty's when I first started out, and he goes, "Sears, what are you doing here?" I was like, "Comedy, I think."
Giving it a go.
And he's like, "Really?" And I'm like, "Yeah." I said, "What are you doing here?" And he's like, "No, I'm a comedian." I'm like, "What?" I play poker with him today. Maybe 2 people in that whole poker room know he's a comedian. He doesn't say 2 words half the time.
Yeah.
I walk in, they're like, "Pinky," and they know you're going to be having fun, but and it's nothing against him. He's one of the ones that I think actually writes.
It's just the mode he works in.
Things that come out of my mouth are what's in my set.
Yeah.
That's why when I don't really
that's why it's so natural to you.
I
just being
write
who
them in
you
the
are,
right
right?
order and fill in the blanks. Almost everything has either been something that popped out of my mouth or that I've done,
or an experience. The Hitler stash, that was hilarious.
No, it's a true story.
That's hilarious.
The virginity, only a few lines, and that is absolutely every bit of that's
Arby's.
Changed. The Arby's. Mom asked me if I was gay. She didn't say Arby's, but you know what I mean. That I had to do that for the millennials.
Don't you hate saying that just a little bit?
Well, I had to do that for them so that they would get that one when they didn't get the damn joke. And the older people don't get the Arby's joke. So, I had to put.
Got to play to your
crowd.
Did
both. I did
covering
both.
all the bases.
And I have friends that's married, and there's both of them in that crowd. So they're married. So I just tell them to ask each other, tonight when they're not. But we'll circle back real quick. So anyways, I got up on stage in front of 40 friends, and I was like, that was fun. And I was decent. I mean, and everybody was like, Sears, you were better than half of those open micers.
Killed it.
And I was like, it felt good. Well, then a guy I know, who's not to be named in the comedy circuit, who's been pretty much banned and outed, is an addicted gambler. And I knew him from poker. And I sent him a message on Facebook and goes, "Hey, guess what? I did." And he heard 40 friends. He heard Bringer. He goes, "Hey, 2 weeks from now, I have a show. Do you want to open for Mike Armstrong, the funny ex-cop from Bob and Tom?"
Yeah. Yeah.
And I was like, I don't know who he is, but sure, why not? I didn't know how comedy worked.
Yeah.
Mind you, I didn't know how this worked at all. And so I opened for Mike Armstrong, my third time ever on stage. Had no idea.
I would say that's probably the biggest thing holding most people back, is just being willing to jump into things like that. Because I've always wanted to do stand-up. It's always something that's crossed my mind, but that's a daunting. If it's not something you're familiar with, that's intimidating to me, and I am not easily intimidated.
Are you afraid to bomb?
I don't think it's necessarily that, because I'm used to performing in front of people with music and stuff like that. I think it's just something that I've never done before. So stepping out of my comfort zone is the hard part.
I had never done a woman before I did one.
Hey, I like this.
I mean, I remember it went back. Never mind.
But I mean, that's got to be something that plays with your nerves a little bit.
It didn't, because I was in sales, getting on stage.
You're used to talking to people. Yeah.
I like attention.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not a secret. I mean, if you saw my mobility scooter, it just says attention. It's a 3-wheel off-road and goes.
You got a 3-wheeler.
Goes off-roading 25 miles an
hour. So I'd be a 4-wheeler kind of guy.
Because if I have to roll out on stage in a rascal,
right, you might as well come out right.
So I mean, I didn't even think about it. It just was what I wanted.
It's inherent.
And I do stuff so subconscious.
Mm-hmm.
I think I wrote a couple books, How to Think and Grow Rich. Networking and make influence people, make friends and influence people. I think I wrote those in a past life. I'm serious.
Yeah.
The way I live my life is by those. And it's so insane. I never really put it all together until recently, when all this has been happening and just snowballing. And I'm like, I am not the best at comedy. but I am at marketing and networking.
Yeah. Well, and I
sales.
think especially like performance type of things like that, like musicians, anything like, I think if you're the best at being you can corner that, your version of that market really well. Like that's something I've always found. I'm not the greatest drummer in the world by any means, but a lot of people are like, man, that sounded really good. Cause I know that I'm good at what I'm doing. How I drum, I'm good at. How now compared to like Neil Peart, I'm trash. But
whoever that is,
we have different
Rush.
Okay.
Rush. I don't like Rush.
But I mean, in the drum world, that's like that's like the holy grail of drummers. Technically, he's one of the best.
Since do you know anything about marching band?
Yeah, actually, I played.
He
trumpet.
was in.
Okay, yeah. So I compare my comedy to band. To be in the drum line, you have to be good.
Yeah,
I got in the drum line in 7th grade through graduation.
Yeah, that's hard. Anywhere.
Then it goes cymbals, bass drum, snare, quads. I wasn't a cymbal, but I was a bass drummer.
I'm like a triangle. That's all I got.
But you're in the drum line.
I'm in there.
So you're up here. That's how my comedy is. I am in comedy. I'm no.
But
DJ
you're so fresh
Wrangler.
In comedy that you have your growth is just gonna take off.
I'm still new. I really am. In years of comedy,
talk to some of these guys
years
that are 10, 15 years in.
No, and I mean, I'm very blessed. I very much so am. And everybody, tries to feel sorry for me because of the breast cancer and the MS.
Kick that shit's ass.
I said, you know what? My life is so much better than yours. Don't feel sorry for me.
Right.
Does that bother you?
I wouldn't have this life.
Like, you don't want to be defined, like, not defined, but like, is it hard sometimes being associated with cancer so much?
No, and it's sick. It's a sick thing because I'm attracted to people with or survivors.
Mm-hmm. My mom's the same way.
And that it's sick, and that's not attraction and sexual or anything like that.
I understand what you're saying.
Person to person.
I couldn't tell you how many infusions or chemos or surgeries I've sat through or just gone to the hospital to visit people.
It's a shared experience that only the people that have been through it can understand.
Yeah, and like when I lost my mom, people are like, "Oh, I know how you." No, you don't, unless you've actually lost your mom, who was your best friend.
Yeah,
there are friends of mine that do, and when I meet them, I mean, you immediately you're like sisters.
Yeah, my mom is the same exact way.
Cancer survivors, you're immediately.
Yeah, and okay, so get this. We talked about this on a older podcast, but so yeah, my mom had breast cancer, and literally a month or two ago, I found I had this hard knot on my left nipple, and my nipple was inverted. So my wife's like, I'm like, it'll go away. I'm not going, whatever. So she made me go to the doctor. Yeah. He felt it right away, and he's like, I'm going to recommend that you go get an ultrasound. Well, I thought I was going to get an ultrasound. I get in there.
You got a mammogram.
I got a mammogram. I didn't think dudes could get mammograms. So they stuffed me in the machine. Clamps down on you, spins around you, and
it doesn't hurt that bad.
It wasn't that bad. It wasn't that. I could see if you're a woman and you had a little more in there, like they could pancake you.
Mine wasn't much bigger than yours. I have a feeling
they could pancake you.
Well,
but so, anyways, I can say I've gone through this a little bit, but the radiologist is like, I need you to do a 3D mammogram now. So it started.
So it was newer. This is more recent.
Yeah. This was on July 4th. I got my mammogram.
Okay, because 3D mammograms
on July 4th.
By the way.
And then after it did the 3D mammogram, he's like, I need you to get an ultrasound. So like, I'm not like, I started freaking out a little bit because I'm like, well, he should have been able to read the first scan. I was expecting to just be like, hey, you're getting out of here. Yeah. Does the ultrasound, starts reading my lymph nodes, and they're like, well, your lymph nodes are swollen. They're usually this size, this and that. So he said, I'm going to recommend you see a breast surgeon. And I'm like, so I started calling my mom at that point, and I'm like, they're telling me I have to see a breast surgeon. I was like, I don't know what the fuck's going on. I expect to be in and out of here. So I went and saw Dr. Getty, who's like one of the best in the area. And I went in there, and as soon as he looked at me, he's like, dude, you're good. It's a hormonal thing. Like the nipple invert doesn't look like a cancerous thing. But, so I was in and out, but I can say like it scared the shit out of me. So I couldn't imagine when there's women in there every day that are getting the worst news of their lives. And I was thinking about that. Like I was lucky enough to walk out of there just like, oh, gotta go about my day. No, there were women coming in there afterwards who are not going to be told that and not going to come out. So like that kind of fucked with me mentally. I've always wondered like
people that are like in their.
Do you want me to lock it? If you push it in.
People that are in their early 20s now.
Did it lock?
Yeah. Like when we were all growing up, a lot of time, especially when we were young, if you had cancer, you died. That was always the association until like maybe 10 years ago.
Not to cut you off, but I heard my mom had told me like during Vietnam, more women died of breast cancer than soldiers that died during that time period.
So like for us, I just haven't asked, like my sister's younger. I haven't asked her, but I feel like that war carries a lot more punch to our generations than it does to the younger ones, because a lot of people, I bet if we talk to 100 people that are under the age of 25, 90% of them know someone who's had.
Dude, everybody does.
But they all of those 95 people, I bet 89 or 90 of them, they're survivors at this point. It's not like
it's better.
Yeah,
it's better.
Until
do you think there's a cure? I'm not trying to get into.
They're going to legalize it.
So you think it?
Oh yeah.
I mean, it's all about money, right? Ones. I'm not trying to get into like conspiracy stuff, but
it's not. It's not just money.
Because what they always say is we can make more money treating a patient than curing a patient.
Absolutely.
And is that there? I always think there's truth to that.
There is, to a point. Lilly had a cannabis program up until 1974. They had cannabis farms over on the side of 70 there.
So the Stamp Act.
People didn't know that.
Yeah.
I heard Olanka, the old Olanka over here on 40, like they always had the big wire fences around it. I didn't mean to cut you off, but yeah, they were supposedly doing cannabis there and a lot of animal testing.
Were Pfizer and Lilly.
Oh yeah,
I absolutely 100% because
for sure.
I'm going to sidetrack on why I'm on the cannabis thing. And
no, I will.
Cannabis is, besides laughter, cannabis is the number one cure for everything. Laughter and 100%. Cannabis. That is it. And guess what? They sometimes go hand in hand.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I think there's probably some hard science that shows that.
But here's the thing. They're also God-made.
Just grows that way.
Plant. It's all natural. It's God-made.
Grows that way. We're not chopping it down into powder, adding baking soda. No, what's the recipe? I don't know, but
it is the reason that I can walk. 2.5 years ago, I couldn't walk because of my multiple sclerosis.
But then there's these doctors that say you should be taking Oxycontin. When we know that you're going, we know you're going to withdraw from this, and they cut people off, and that's how people get into heroin, because you really cannot just stop. My mom went through that. She became addicted to painkillers, and she didn't even know at the time. And this was before the opiate epidemic. This was in the 90s, and she tried to stop her medicine. You can't just fucking stop.
I had a friend that was addicted to Klonopin, and I was supposed to be on those for my PTSD, my anxiety, depression medicine, all those. Because of cannabis and supplements, I've been able to stop. I mean, I use CBD regularly. I have my own line coming out, which is
that's
really
awesome.
cool.
Yeah, that is really
well. There's research that shows where cannabis is legal, the opiate statistics
CBD,
go way down.
CBD being legal, and the problem, and it's so sad in Indiana. People, the mentality, because Midwest brainwashing is real.
It's absolutely real. We just started selling alcohol on Sundays here. You think we're going to get cannabis soon?
Oh, absolutely. It's going to be legal next year.
In Indiana?
2020. It's federally.
I do think that. I think Trump's trying to get that done.
He's going to.
If it becomes
for years, he has that in his back pocket. My buddy who's a stoner, or I don't want to say anything negative because but if it was legal, I would be too. Because I know the benefit of it. That's why I use CBD as much as I do. But he's like, no, because of Sessions. And then he fired Sessions. And I was like, and he goes, shut up. And
I feel like he's been hanging on to that.
And I hate to say this, but I've studied Trump over the years. I used to like him. I do not. I don't like the person he is now.
Sure.
I mean, he was in the Advocate magazine back in the years. Yeah. I mean, he was big LGBTQ. I went to New York in 2004, and the two things I had to do when I was there is see Rent on Broadway and see Trump Tower.
Yeah.
There's a picture of me with the doorman going, I mean, like I told you, I'm a salesman first. I applied for The Apprentice. So I have his book, I have his bobblehead. Never would I have imagined I would have to know how hateful of a man he can become. Because that's not who he is originally. That he wasn't that person when I liked him.
No, there's a super interesting video where he did Oprah in the 90s. Have you seen that?
I've read the magazine. Yeah. I mean, I've been gay since forever ago, and I have the Advocate magazine back in the day. I read it because I idolized him because he was such a good salesman.
Yeah, and see all the stuff that's
people are going to hate me for saying that, and I'm sorry.
All the stuff that's going on now, because I agree with you. I think he's incredible.
Don't like him now.
I think he's an incredible salesman, but I think knowing that now, especially as an adult and looking back at his history, I wonder if he was selling those ideas too, because that's what was trending at that time. And that's what was good for business.
That's what he's selling now.
Right.
And this hate is what's selling.
Exactly.
And unfortunately, that's what's
if
selling.
it wasn't selling, he would change his tune.
He wouldn't be doing it if people didn't react to
It's
it. But you know what? Both sides react.
Yes.
That's the problem. And he is doing things that are harming some people.
Overreacting, I would say, is probably the dangerous.
Harming people, and that's sad.
Oh yeah.
Because he has the power to do so much good.
Mm-hmm.
And it's sad. Anyways, I don't want to get into this.
But you do think that a conservative office will be the first to federally legalize it? I mean, I would love that.
Agree with you.
I think that's what I've said that for years. He's going to legalize it. Do you know why marijuana is illegal?
Well, it was a racist thing back in like the 30s.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
What's his name? The FBI.
What is it now? Well, JFK was going to legalize it right before he got shot.
Yeah, he was also going to shut down the Federal Reserve. He was also going to shut down the Federal Reserve.
They said that this is what African Americans smoke, and they'll make you crazy, and they're going to
Mexicans and blacks is why it was a race drug. So that's how they could lock them up.
Mm-hmm.
Guess how many people are in prisons because of it? 90% of them aren't white.
Yeah.
Guess who hates him the most?
Yeah, minorities.
You want some extra votes that you're never going to get?
I've always said that.
Let my family free
for
doing nothing.
If the conservatives would own the marijuana thing, do you realize how many votes you could steal from just people who want marijuana legal? Like, if you want to get into that political game and talk about getting votes, if they would own that and say, we're going to legalize marijuana for you, we're going to keep the government out of what you do at home, but they won't do that because it doesn't fit the narrative.
I don't understand how all that works. But
I
don't understand government that well, and I don't follow it because I don't follow what's going on because I'm so naive to it, and I'm naive to who people are and everything, and it's sad.
What's super bullshit is it's still a fucking Schedule 1 drug, which means that it's with heroin and meth.
Hemp was a Schedule 1 drug until last year.
Meaning there's no medical.
Okay, if you followed this, which you wouldn't have, if you would have followed gay marriage, which is weird if you did back then, followed it all the way through. Marijuana is on the exact same
trajectory.
Path.
Yeah.
No, the exact same path. Everything. States legalized here and there.
Mm-hmm.
And then federally, they said, we're going to legalize it. And then Indiana said, fuck you. No, you're not. And they pushed back.
Yeah. And then they got a huge PR nightmare out of that.
Same thing happened with CBD.
Yep.
I mean, it is on the exact same path. It is coming by 2020.
Man, I would hope so.
Yeah,
I've
read a lot of things.
It absolutely
that are leaning towards that too.
I mean, just besides the fact that what we've talked about.
Just my opinion.
It is medicine. It is the cure-all. Whether you have a stomach ache, a headache, you can't sleep.
It's ridiculous. I mean, CBD.
It's a cure-all.
CBD is amazing, and unfortunately, because of the Midwest brainwashing, people don't understand it. People are still scared of CBD.
Sure.
You can't get high
because they think that it's going to get them high.
Because it is hemp.
Yeah.
And that, marijuana, it has THC
it all got
in it.
lumped in.
It has 0.3 of THC.
Well, and the
you
whole
could drink
hemp
the whole bottle. You won't
the
get
whole
high.
hemp thing came from. So hemp has the highest cellulose count of any plant that we know of. So it's really good for paper. It's really good for clothing. You can make cut resistant.
Just got made.
Yep. So I think when part of that when marijuana was outlawed, the paper industry was growing.
I've heard that too.
Really
big.
The paper mill was part of it too.
Right.
Yeah,
so a
absolutely.
lot of politicians at that time had stock in wood and lumber, and they didn't want their
Politicians
dollars
have a lot
to
of
get
stock
hurt.
in wood now, but it's just
Yeah.
not.
Lobbying
Trees.
Lobbying
It's
should
underage.
There you go.
like lobbying should be illegal. I don't think you'll ever get to that. That's wishful thinking, but
Well,
it's
I think
so crazy the power.
I
that
agree
they-
with lobbying because this is a country where we
See,
have
and I
First
don't
Amendment
even know
rights.
anything about this.
You should
I don't
be
know
able.
anything about this stuff.
Basically, there are people that pay other people to go and influence.
Yeah, I just don't pay attention
That's
to it.
basically the general idea.
I get it.
I think it's okay. I
get what it
want
is.
my first. I want their First Amendment rights to be read too, but it has to be dictated because the only people who are successful at lobbying are people with a lot of money. So it counts. Me and you couldn't go lobby for something and make a big difference.
No, but it's just all the money that it's not really even lobbying
it's a
anymore.
legal
It's
handout.
whose pockets are the deepest, and then that's who we're going to support because they have the most pull, the most influence, and they're who's going to get me reelected.
So we're. You said you're launching the CBD line. Where
Yeah.
can people get that?
Denver CBD is up in Fishers in
Okay.
front of the Staples and Meyer up there on 96.
So you have actual brick and mortar place?
Denver does.
Okay.
Okay, so they have an amazing store. I wanted my own CBD store for a couple of years. I had investors and everything. People won't rent to you when you say CBD.
No, it's
really
hard,
it's still bad.
that
the banks still won't bank
the
with
loan,
a lot of times and stuff
because
like
of the
that.
federal
Nobody will
bullshit.
insure you and stuff like that.
Colorado went through the same thing when they legalized marijuana. With
well, there's
dispensaries
still
and stuff
because
like that.
you still have to use cash.
Yeah, you can't. Nobody, the bank can't take it.
I have been in dispensaries in legal states that have actually taken my card down.
Really?
So that was
step.
shocking.
That started like late last year.
Yeah, that's just more recent when I was out of town. Yeah, no, people are just, they don't know anything about it. So they're like, nope, not getting that. And they wouldn't rent. And the places I looked at, they wouldn't rent me.
And if the places you find always look like kind of seedy too. Like,
well, and I wanted something that had like a cafe in the front. We were going to do, I'm not going to go into it, but we were going to do something like that. And then have a gift store in the back that also sold CBD. So we wouldn't be categorized as a CBD store.
Sure. Something you carry.
So I walk in, a friend of mine that added me when I opened for Pat McAfee. And she added me on Facebook because she's a marketer too. She knew what she was doing. She's followed me and she sees me talk about send people down to the Southside store, CBD Health of Indiana. And I made friends with them and I always tell people to go down there and get stuff. And she saw that and she goes, hey, you should stop in here and check some of my stuff out and see how it helps your health.
Right.
And then I met Kyle, who used to be the bodyguard for like DJs, very famous one. All the movie. Oh my God, I'm Cardi B.
Cardi B.
Like
wow.
Yeah. And DJs and stuff, and he
high-end bodyguard.
Yeah. And stuff like that. And he's like, you should be an influencer. And I'm like, well, I've been that a long time. Just didn't even realize it because they never used that. That's a new millennial term.
It is.
And I never knew what I was doing. I was just like, hey, I love Gigi's Cupcakes. You should go there. Or, hey.
People make a living doing that now.
I know.
That's a career.
I mean,
I'm reading a book. It's called The Tipping Point, and they talk about people like that. They're connectors. So you have a big sphere of influence.
I do.
And people listen to your input about where to go and what to do.
And I'm like, Best Bet. I love it. It's a poker themed restaurant up in Fishers. They're amazing, blah, blah, blah. Didn't realize that's what I was doing.
Right.
Now, not to say they haven't given back to me like they would an influencer. Like Gigi's donated cupcakes to my watch party.
Sure.
And to my MS thing that
they recognize that your sphere of influence is helping theirs.
Yeah. And I never really, because I just did what I was doing. I never realized I was doing it and I just didn't.
Yeah. That's a huge, like all the brands and stuff now, like influencers, that's, it's changing the world.
Why don't you be an influencer? And I was like, oh yeah, well,
I
want to go talk to the one that my friends down on the South Side before I say 100%. But yeah, I'd love to. Let me go talk to them because I'm a loyal to a fault.
Yeah,
a friend of mine called me a dog, and I was like, that's rude. And she said, no, you're loyal like a dog, which I am. I mean, to a fault. It gets me hurt. But I had to go talk to them, and they're like, Lisa, no matter what, we'll support you. Hey, well, and then I said, and he talked about doing my own line, and they're like, we'll carry it.
That's awesome.
I mean, they'll be one of the first stores to carry it.
That's badass.
We've talked about doing that with like a small batch of whiskey. I just don't know how to go about that. So I'll have to get with you on that.
Find somebody that, so basically my understanding, and maybe that's how they're doing, but you find a and they private label it.
Oh, my CBD line?
Yeah. Or do you know who's making your CBD?
Yeah, Denver.
Okay. So that's even
right.
So they're actually, I didn't know much about them, but they were talking about their farms. There's a farm right here in Indianapolis. I've been to it. It's beautiful.
I didn't even know that.
That's cool. A hemp farm in Indiana.
Oh, the babies are
Does it have buds? Do they I don't know much about
the
hemp.
Babies are being grown in one building that used to be the old probation office. And, and then transport them to the farm.
Yeah.
And then they're in the big greenhouse, and then they're transported. I mean, they pick them off.
They clone shit.
They're just,
there's some high tech stuff going on there.
They are testing like the heights of the lights, the different lights, and how they'll grow in the different soils.
Plants are complicated.
John Bales is an amazing man. I mean, he is just on it. But all my CBD line will be made here in Indianapolis.
That's awesome.
Basically. So, anyways, I said to Kyle, I said, my friend said I should have my own CBD line. And when I walked into that store, it has a cafe where they have coffee and teas infused with CBD, kind of what I wanted to do.
Yeah, idea.
Like
Nitro coffee.
Snack shop, and I went, motherfucker stole my idea. And it's big and it's beautiful. They have a doctor on site, and that's the other thing. I didn't want to be in it just to make money.
Right. This is
I wanted to
treating
help people.
This. Yeah.
And this is not who I ever was. So this is just not me. But I mean, it's who I am now, and I want to. I just wanted to help people. and I wanted doctor on site and and have testimonials.
It's as
Yeah.
legitimate
like
as it gets.
Yeah, just-
and it really is. It is just an amazing thing. And Kyle goes, "Oh, let's sit down and talk." So my investor came with me, and that's when we saw the farm and everything. And then Kyle goes, "Well, John called and said we should probably be partners. That'll be easier. You don't have to worry about the website and all that stuff."
Oh yeah, that's awesome.
And so I said, "Okay." And Kyle goes, "Well," and my investor, he goes, "You know what? That's better for all of us. We don't have to worry about failing."
Oh yeah.
Because you can't.
Yeah.
So here's a question. So, we've talked about this Midwest brainwashing a lot, and there's all these people that don't understand CBD. They associate it with marijuana. Is it just education and having open discussions?
So.
How do we change the narrative to get to where it needs to be?
Is
there's
the mentality's so bad that, like, my roommate's mom is Pentecostal, 60-year-old with arthritis. She couldn't use CBD.
Refuses.
That's bad.
Yeah.
That's bad.
It's the devil's lettuce.
Well, she asked her minister, and he goes, "No, it's okay. I trust your daughters." Well, guess who swears by it?
This lady now. Yeah.
It has changed her life. Now, would she ever inhale it?
Probably
Nope.
not. Yeah.
Probably not.
But it's just she's
Because
had
she's
a
using the
misconception.
To ingest it as well. And Big Steve, a buddy of mine who became a buddy because I was getting my MS infusion, and I have this big boob pillow. You probably
I've
saw
seen
that.
it.
Well, I had that before I went into chemo and breast cancer, and so
Who doesn't like boobies?
I mean,
Come on.
it really makes people laugh and smile.
It's hilarious.
Does. And it did through chemo. Women.
Yeah, and if you've ever spent an extended period of time in a hospital, there's a shortage of happiness.
Isn't laughter really a medicine?
It is.
Like, that's cliche to say, but there's a reason
that's why I got through it. And I hate to say it easy because I feel like a dick, because a lot of women have it a lot harder than I did. And it's not easy.
You gotta have,
but in comparison to MS, it was easy to me. So you
have to have some laughter and some hope, and
you have to laugh.
If we've all been in situations in our life where you're down, and when you focus on that and kind of, I'm one who tends to beat myself up, and I'm a pessimist, and I hate that about myself. But when you focus on those,
doing it right now,
when you focus being negative, it just breeds more negativity.
It doesn't matter what happens to you; it's how you react to it.
Oh yeah.
If you can, I'm a big believer in the law of attraction now. Like, what you think and
absolutely am too.
What you put out there is what you get back. And that's something that's taken me up to this point in my life to learn, but there's truth in that.
When you're asking about, like, how do we change the narrative on CBD and marijuana in general? And I think this is something that I take away from the podcast, especially, but even more so with what you've got going on, is you're in a really unique position where your sphere of influence has grown to a point where people are listening to what you say. I mean, people listen to our show, people will watch your comedy, and you really have a unique ground where you can help promote and,
I used
educate.
to be an athlete. And
what sports?
Oh, well, of course, softball, because you have to have your gay card.
Yeah.
But well, that's kind of true. But I did
at least one season, right?
I did Muay Thai.
Oh yeah.
No shit. So you like UFC, or do you like?
I did Krav Maga.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I'm a Kravi. I was, and I did
Badass.
boxing.
I did Taekwondo for 10 years.
Yeah.
I loved
I
it.
did
I love
boxing.
mixed martial arts.
Boxing. And I ran every 5K I could get my hands on. And mini marathon.
Mm-hmm.
You ran the mini
3 times. Well,
wow.
Okay. Third wasn't a run as much. I had to do it with my walker.
I don't give a shit. It's
But
13.
We got it done.
13
because
plus
my best friend
miles.
proposed to her wife at the end. We had to finish. We had the ring on us. She had to push me some because my legs would go dead, and I would sit down. She'd push me. I'd get back up and
it's
go.
not a small feat.
It was fun.
Even healthy and in shape, 13 miles is not short.
It's impressive.
And it was only 3 years that I ever enjoyed running.
Mm.
It was weird because I had my my ACL meniscus surgery, and that same day on October 31st, 7-8 years ago, I quit smoking that day too after 22 years. And to rehab my knee, I was jogging, and so I got into beating the time because I'm competitive.
Yeah.
Like that, with myself.
Yeah.
I'm not competitive as much with other people. I like to win. It's fun. But
you're very goal oriented
for
yourself.
Huh?
You're very goal oriented.
To beat my time, my time.
You should try golf.
No. Nope. That was my dad's game. Fuck that.
It's the hardest sport ever.
No, I don't like it. No. But and so I got into running, and I said, I'm going to do the mini marathon this year. And because it was on my bucket list by the time I was 40, my boss I was in sales for 14 years with one company, top female sales rep in the nation, top sales rep in Indiana.
That's wild.
And I sold windows and patio rooms. Talk about male dominated.
Oh yeah,
construction guys.
Yeah, I sold roofs for a while.
Do you know what you're doing? And I'm like, probably better than any of the guys here. I train most of them.
Right.
You know? I mean, yeah. And I knew so much though that I impressed them, and that's what wanted to make them buy from me. But sorry, had hernia surgery, so
we're good.
Yeah. He goes, "There's no way," and I said, "Oh, I will run the mini this in May, from October to May." He's like, "There's no way you'll rehab." And so I did, and I killed it. You know, we stayed back because my best friend, we crossed together, and she wanted to stay back with a couple of our friends, and I was ready to just go. The second one, I was actually going through chemo.
Dang.
Yeah. So I was bald, and you know, and I've been this person. This is how sick I am with all this. I've been this person. A friend of mine said to me something about, you know, I felt bad at the Randy Miller show because a lot of those people were friends of mine. You know, so as many people almost wanted to talk to me and see me as they did him. And I kept trying to stand back because I didn't want to take his spotlight.
Right. Let him have his
because
moment.
I know these people, you know, and stuff. Yeah. And a friend of mine goes, "Lisa, but you've been locally famous way longer than he has." And I sat back and I was like, "Oh my God, you're right." I mean, when I got diagnosed with breast cancer that week, we had 150 people at the hair salon going pink for boobies. Wow. And the news was there.
Yeah.
Who does that the week they get diagnosed?
Right.
And I was on the news 4 times during my breast cancer.
Yeah. That's incredible though.
I mean, how many people have breast cancer and end up on the news?
Once, let alone 4 times.
I've had this platform forever. And my boxing coach said to me, he goes, when I was going through the news and everything, my breast cancer, he goes, "You have such a platform. I love that you use it for good."
Yeah.
And, you know, and he really, you know, and he really made it sink in. I kind of do. And I hate to say following. I mean, I consider them friends. You know,
it's a community.
Yeah, and not like good friends, you know, acquaintance friends. But I consider them, you know, friends. And I think, but that's making friends and networking, you know, influence people and making friends or whatever, you know. I'm doing all of it in one.
Yeah.
You know, and
I find it super interesting. I mean, I think we could learn a lot from you and how you've kind of just done the networking and everything to kind of build to where you are, and it's just happened naturally from who you are and your personality and the way you look at things. So I think there's a lot to learn. Like, and even people, I have a ton of people that listen or friends that want to do things like that, but a lot of people just struggle kind of starting it and understanding networking and the process. So there's a lot to be learned. I mean, you said you wrote books on this stuff, so
that was one of
in my past life, I think.
Oh,
no. I've never read them, but I could tell you exactly what they say. Right. I said in my past life. Yeah. I wrote those 2 books. I'm telling you. I mean, I studied Zig and everything over the years, and done sales, but it's natural. I went, and another guy I met at poker just more recent in the last year. Him and I were playing poker and everything, and we were talking, and he does improv, which I didn't really know a whole lot of about anything, what it was really, right. And everything. And he had an improv troupe and everything, and I was talking about doing comedy, and after I told him a couple of things about me, he's like, "Who the fuck are you?" And I was like, "I'm just me. Player. I'm just Sears." And ask them, they'll tell you I'm a bitch or a cunt. I mean, they played with me for many years at the local bars, you know, just playing for free rolls. I owned a free roll league for years. I enjoy that. I know so many different layers of people around Indianapolis, you know, and everything. And it's sick. My buddy said, "Run for governor for a publicity stunt." Same thing.
Yeah, till you win.
Well, that's right? The problem.
Well, yeah, you ready when you win?
Well, and that's the thing. That's what I'm saying. I have a chance. I won best indie comic, and I'm not the best indie comic. I'm the best known indie comic.
No, I think that's one thing. Like, I never listened to any podcasts, or I didn't give a shit about podcasts until we started doing this. And it was kind of a fluke thing that I ended up doing it with him because he had 2 or 3 other people before me that just didn't work out. But it's really cool. Like, we've had some local business owners on here, and I think it's, for me at least, it's really nice to be able to give back that way, because I'm like you in the same way. I have a lot of weird groups of friends, and everybody knows who I am, you know, in the circles that I run in. And it's cool that I can use, you know, my personality and just my inherent characteristics to help people that I know, and
you should do it.
And I honestly, and I hate to sound cliche or whatever, I'm a different person than I was even 3 years ago before I found cannabis. I'm serious. It saved my life. I couldn't walk 2.5 years ago. I almost took my own life.
Yeah,
it was bad. My neighbor was having to come pick me up off the floor. And when you're an athlete to the ability that I was,
that total mindset change.
I thought my life was over, and I felt like it.
It's that's part of your identity.
Yeah, it was
just ripped.
Yeah, and I thought it was. And when we were up in Toronto, when I found out that marijuana helped me walk.
Yeah,
it was by accident, literally, because with MS you have accidents.
Mm-hmm.
And I had one and got a shower. My buddy goes, "You want something to drink?" And we had stopped at the dispensary because they use marijuana a lot. And so we stopped for fun. And I didn't know anything. I was like, "What's that? What's that?" And he's like, "Shut up. I'll explain it later." And then he made me a drink, and I don't drink alcohol. I don't need it. I've always said that, when we used to go out dancing when I was young, they're like, "Oh, I can't get up and dance. I've only had 1 or 2 drinks." And I'm like, "I've had 1 Diet Coke or 1 water. Let's go." I'm just like, who gives a shit? Why care? You live your life caring too much. And so I said, yeah. And I forgot my cane in the room, and we got to the elevator, and I was like, "I forgot my cane." And he's like, "You want it?" And I'm like, "No, I'm got this."
Yeah,
fucking crazy.
We went outside and walked because he bought a roll to join at the dispensary, and he walked outside and smoked it because it's legal in Toronto.
Yep.
And I was standing there with him, and I'm like, "What in the hell is this?
What did you give me?"
It's fucking crazy, isn't it?
I'm like, "What is it?" And he's like, "Tincture." And I'm like, "What? You don't know how many times I text that man and asked him to spell tincture." And now I have my own tinctures coming out.
That's hilarious.
It's crazy. I mean, I have a picture of me. I used to always do Topless Tuesday pictures because somebody reported me for nudity one of the first times I ever posted it. And I posted it, and I was nervous about it, and I posted it for me.
Yeah.
Nobody else. It was for me.
Yeah.
I had to do it and show what had happened to me, kind of thing.
Yeah, no, I get that.
No, it makes perfect sense.
Like going through it.
Yeah, and I wanted people to see it, and that was it. I was only going to do it once. Well, then somebody reported me for nudity.
Yeah, right. That's like the worst response that could have happened.
Became
yeah,
a thing, and I had friends reposting my stuff, and then reporting me, and then I started being a dick about it. Well, and then I end up finding out going to see Burt Crusher. Didn't know who.
I saw the picture of you guys.
Great.
That picture's awesome
at all. But I got in free at Morty's to shows, being a comedian. So I would go when I didn't have stuff to do because I'm single a lot because I choose to be.
Right, you end up with a lot of free time.
Yeah, but I wouldn't be where I'm at if I were dating.
Yeah. Oh,
because
yeah.
I wouldn't have been at those
You're
shows
locked
just
down.
sitting in the back. I like when I met the meet and greet with Eliza, she even said to us, "There's always the last ones." And you know what? We sat down until the line got all the way. There were like 200 meet and greets. I'm always the last one.
Yes. I mean, you got to wait
a lot of comedians jump up there or they bail.
Yeah.
I'm usually the last one to meet a comedian because A, I want him to remember me. B, I want to be able to talk to him a little bit more instead of rushing.
You feel rushed.
Yeah, if there's I didn't even think of it like that.
There's a lot of them that will still rush you and don't have time.
Sure.
Okay. But the ones I've met, like Louis Anderson, changed my life.
Great, yeah.
Just because of that.
Yeah, I mean, just playing poker changed your life. Look at that.
It's crazy how things line up that you don't plan on. And if they just work out eventually,
so many people are like, I think I need comedians, especially. They're like, I guess I need to learn to play poker.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I've been really considering going to Gamblers Anonymous because I've lost too much. I lose.
Right.
So, those live cards ain't gonna help.
It's a social thing.
Yeah.
That's what's bad.
Yeah.
I don't do it to win. Well, I mean, I like to win. I enjoy that. But I do it for social reasons. I mean, I go play for free.
Yeah, that's hard to beat.
Because I enjoy it socially. And look what it's done for me socially.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I would lose more if I didn't gamble and lose this because I'm going to be making more because I did gamble.
Yeah.
Are you, I was just curious about this. Are you at the point where comedy and the things you have going on with FX, is that like your full-time stuff now? Or you still work a job?
Well, they're about to be the full-time thing.
Yes.
Yeah. That's awesome.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
We've talked about that. Like,
if we
we'd
could
love for
thankfully.
this to pop off, and so we could just do this full-time
Yeah, I'm
because
trying to see if I can get back to work.
grind.
yeah.
Grind.
Yeah.
until you
Because
can
I
get
mean,
there.
I do like 5 to 10 minutes of stage time. I get up in the afternoon.
Right.
Or if I get up early and do something, then I go back and take a nap because I have MS and it's
exhausting. Yeah.
It is. And I've been on disability and everything, but I'm
Mhm.
Yeah.
working back. I'm working to get back.
You'll
off
get
of
there.
It. Yeah, no,
I think
I want to get back because I mean, I'm not who I used to be. That was all about pussy and money. As much. I'm not about either one of those first, especially the pussy. But the money comes second.
You could have been a rapper,
right?
Pussy, money, weed.
Yeah, right. But, and all three of them come second now.
Yeah,
almost. Well, not the weed, but the cannabis.
Yeah,
cannabis. Really, because I use CBD 3 times a day, and it helps me.
Yeah,
it really does. And it's the entourage effect. So when I'm in a legal state and I use, and then I keep the CBD in me, some of it's in my fat. It's the entourage effects that it kind of has a little bit of that effect. So when I use CBD, it helps me walk. I mean, there are days I still can't walk.
Yeah, I mean, it's I just like to go back to what we said earlier, the education. Like when you hear things like this, it's really hard for people to deny. Like I've seen videos of these little kids that have 60 seizures a day. They take CBD, their seizures disappear. Like when you see stuff like that then you can't deny that anymore.
Well, and everybody sees it on the. I believed it when I saw the Facebook videos of it, and stuff, and I'm like, oh. But when you see it with your own eyes,
you can't deny it.
It's just.
And people, everybody has a family, and when it affects your family, you'd be willing to try anything too. And
a friend of mine that I play poker with, of course, has Parkinson's, and I call him Shaky McShakerton. He's like this, and because we joke like that. And people that don't know us, they're like, "What the?"
They think it was
how dare you say that to
him? But they'll call me a dyke or anything, whatever.
Yeah,
homo, because I go by homo. Everybody calls me homo, and but he would not try it, and I brought it. Finally, I said, "Open your damn mouth," and I bird fed him. And I dropped him in there, and I have a video of him in 60 seconds just from CBD.
Changed his life.
I mean, it stopped. Well, he's a stubborn old man. You think he's going to take it like he's supposed to 3 times a day? No. 2 to 3 times a day? No. But I have another friend that I met because of Indiana Normal, which is the legalization of marijuana. His name's Shaky. That's his nickname, Shaky. So, and he has Parkinson's. Well, he was having a bad day, and I was back there at Denver CBD in the back with the person that creates their formulas and stuff back there. And we're creating my formula different so that it helps people with multiple sclerosis or autoimmune diseases and cancer more than some of the other lines.
I think that's a big thing people don't really understand is that there are different strains of CBD for all kinds of different things.
We're making it different. We're adding vitamin D, which is huge. We all need more vitamin D.
Right.
And that's what helps grow the myelin sheath back with MS. This is going to go way over. Anyways, Jesus. We have 5 stories that we haven't even, at least, that we haven't finished. But we're putting vitamin D in it, and then we have little edibles that are supplemental when you have a bad day that have
just an additional kick.
Have CBN in it, which is another cannabinoid.
I've never even heard of that.
Which CBD is one of the cannabinoids of the hemp plant.
It reacts with the receptors in your brain
and everything else. There's different ones. There's a circle wheel up there. That's why I'm so happy I'm with Denver. Besides, I know for a fact that their product is pure. I've seen it. I've seen where it grows. And I've met the man that's in charge of it and all these people that work there. And it's just,
they're thorough.
I am blown away. And I sit back there and watch her. And we made my edibles the other day. And those are amazing. They're little waffles that are maple flavored.
The best.
They
sounds amazing.
The best. And, and we maybe look at it doing a capsule for midday that has like ginseng in it with lion's mane, and CBD and vitamin D. So that midday, because it's hard to carry around a bottle of tincture when you don't carry a purse.
Sure.
It's not going to fit in my wallet. So, and you don't leave it in your car because the heat and the cold.
Carrying a flask is weird.
Well, yeah. And, I carry my midday pills with me. That's easy. So I was like, why don't we do a capsule? Because, lion's mane tastes like shit.
Yeah.
I mean, I've never eaten shit, but I imagine that's what it tastes like. Or ass. Whatever.
I've never eaten shit. I was gonna say
not that
maybe some ass.
No,
we've talked about that. It's like you want to hit the millennials, you got to eat ass.
Well, but no, we used to call it tossing
the trend.
salad.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
We're familiar with that too.
I mean, eating ass. I guess that's more to the point, but
direct.
I don't know if you want to take a bite out of it. But anyway,
depends on what you're trying to do.
Yeah.
Well, what's the goal here?
I guess. I know. I don't know what we're talking about. So anyways,
that's this
really
podcast.
Cool. And I said I would like to do 2 flavors so that I could donate some proceeds to the National MS Society and proceeds to Cancer Support Community.
Oh yeah, just from like
and
two
they were
strands.
like, okay.
Yeah, that's
and I
awesome.
said, the other thing I'd like to do, and they are just like, okay. And I mean, I have the first logo that's going to be on Denver instead of being the green.
Is that your logo?
Nope, that's Denver's. That's Denver's. The green there is in rainbow on mine.
Oh yeah, that's cool.
And then,
yeah, I'll show it to the camera.
Don't know. And if you buy anything online or at the store, if you tell them Lissa sent you, you'll get 20% off, or Lissa 20 if you enter it in with 2 S's. But I'm not, but the thing of it is, with my line, I said because these ladies I worked with at the Y with the Livestrong program, they were survivors. And I said, do you guys take CBD? And they're like, we can't afford to. And I said, you can't afford not to. So the biggest thing with people with CBD is they can't afford to.
Right. It kind of is pricey.
But is it?
Well, yeah, I understand what you're saying. Yeah. If it's a matter of walking or not walking, what's the cost?
Or feeling better.
Yeah.
Right. Just
and a lot of
quality of life.
Dude, there's even now like her health savings account will cover it. So it's legitimate now.
Marijuana is going to be legal. And I have friends in other states that have MS or breast cancer, and their doctor, their medical MD has prescribed them marijuana.
He says, my medical license is on the line. You need this. Like, it's as legitimate as it gets.
I think that's probably my favorite part about like the legalizing marijuana and the CBD push is it's very scientific. People that are advocating for those things, they have facts, and we're doing it the right way.
Israel's been studying it
forever. Yeah.
And and there are people down in Mexico that have been cured with CBD.
South America, I've seen
of cancer from CBD.
That's wild.
Yeah, I've heard tons of research about cannabinoids like preventing cancer, even.
Oh yeah,
just not even the curing, just like
yeah.
It's insane.
But the thing of it is, you have to know how to dose. You have to know how to do it right, because people think, oh, I'm going to go get some weed, smoke it. No, that's not how you use medical marijuana. What are you
doing here, man?
I mean, you can use that to help your pain at night or something like that.
Right, but the right strain and the right application.
Do it right and you dose, and like there's doctors with medical doctors, marijuana doctors, excuse me, they're not medical, that know how to make stuff that's so potent that you eventually don't even get high anyways. But it does so many things. I mean, it's been known to kill put Crohn's in remission.
That's wild.
I mean, there's so many things and so many
I've
studies.
struggled with sleeping at night. Just
yeah.
Sleep,
actually, that's
amazing sleep.
I use
CBD
for and appetite.
It's great.
Like that too.
Yeah, sleep, appetite.
That problem. I do have a binder on for my hernia.
It doesn't look like I do, but I'm a meal skipper.
I wish I was.
Ugh.
I wish I skipped a lot of meals.
Hey, real quick, before there's one thing more I want to ask you before we wrap this up. Since you got your Colts jersey on, how do you feel about the Andrew Luck thing?
I feel a lot differently than a lot of people, because I know how what McAfee went through, kind of.
Yeah, I talked about that. He set a precedent.
I
in
was
that
more
situation.
Around him though, and so I mean that's how I met
him.
He had
him
another
go through
surgery.
that. Yeah,
and and he loves kicking balls so much.
Right.
But you know what made
For
him
the
happy?
brand.
He's fucking good at it.
You know what made him happy? Entertaining people.
Yeah.
And if you look
He's
at it,
good
and
at
this
that,
sounds
too.
so stupid, but I am following in his footsteps almost to a T. It's ridiculous, because guess what he's good at? Guess who was Indy's best comic last year?
The brand.
Oh yeah.
For the brand.
Yeah. Yeah. He's good at selling himself.
I'm growing a pink fucking mullet.
Yeah.
I wore fanny packs before they came back.
The pink mullet
years ago.
Fanny pack. Yeah, it's funny how all the 90s stuff is coming back now.
This, and everyone's like, "I'll break in your house and cut it if you do."
It's the pink
and
mullet
now,
movement.
You know what? I've not had more compliments on a haircut ever in my life.
Yeah. I had an afro. I feel you.
He grows an afro.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and that's what a lot of people remember me from.
Anytime they see a mullet or a waffle or a unicorn or anything like that, or anything that says
twat waffles,
anything.
Right.
I'm going to remember that.
They posted
How
on
could
my
you not?
or on my Facebook. It's marketing.
Yeah.
Marketing.
It's genius. No, really. I mean,
and I wasn't doing it intentionally either. It's just who I am as a person. I mean, It's hard during relationships sometimes.
Yeah, my girlfriend absolutely fucking hates it. She's like, you're on your phone all the time, and you know so many fucking people, and there's always people calling you and shit. I'm like, I love that. I can't. I told her, I'm like,
feed off that.
Like, we go to the grocery store and she hates shopping with me because we're going to be there for 2 hours.
Because
I'm going to run into 15 or 20 people I know.
Me.
And she's like, I can't fucking stand it. I'm like, you don't understand. I can't turn this off. I can't see someone that I haven't seen for 15 years and just make eye contact and walk away. My brain does not work that way.
You're like me because I can't. I mean, everywhere.
And she's the exact opposite. She doesn't. She wants to get there and go home and be in her
that
world.
Would be me.
And
I just want to. I go to concerts.
Oh, yeah.
For the socialization.
Yeah, just to see you there. And
yeah, that's
I ran it. I was telling him a couple weeks ago
for social reasons.
I went to a Mammoth Cave. So I'm on a tour in the middle of this fucking cave, a mile underground, and there's another tour coming this way. And I knew like 3 people that were in there. So both tours stop and we have a 30-minute conversation. Absolutely. And everybody's like, can we fucking get through this cave already? I'm like,
that's
me. We will. Don't worry.
It's me. I mean, it's
funny. I ended up joining their tour and walking back with them the way I came.
It's funny that down at the Metro back in the day when it was more non-diverse. I mean, we wanted this. We got this.
Yeah, that place is cool as shit. If you haven't been in there,
it's a lot of fun.
Even if you're not gay, that is a fun bar.
But that's the problem. It's not a problem. We wanted it all inclusive, and we got it. I mean, we fought for that to be all inclusive. I go to straight bars, and I just call them bars.
The atmosphere is different.
But I don't have problems.
Yeah,
and I make friends. I don't care if it's a redneck bar. I don't care. I mean,
I love a bar.
I don't care who they are. And Hill Jacks, think about poker rooms.
Right, yeah,
a lot of
the good old white
boys,
good old boys,
cisgender foreigners or whatever, and I don't have any problems. And I talk the same way I do to everybody. Which at first they're kind of like, I don't know about her, and then they get to know me, and they're like, they either fucking cannot stand me, and usually those are the people I don't like, or
right, it's mutual.
They love me.
It's funny because I've heard like the most successful comedians say, if you can get half the people to hate you and half the people to love you, you'll be the fucking greatest.
Confidence
people are going to feel
so
strongly about you.
Before any of this was like
you're killing
10 years ago.
If you don't hate mail. There's people that say like you don't have haters,
and I was like, oh, thanks for being a fan.
Right,
they're fans.
You need those people as much.
They're fans.
I love it.
They are.
They wrote a 5-page article. She got our view.
Absolutely.
It's like the Beatles said, like, when people were burning their albums, like, well, you have to fucking buy the album before you can burn it.
And everybody
it's the same idea.
Jerseys. I just think they should take those to the kids. My friend posted that.
Yeah,
Riley Hospital or whatever. But
someone another
Manning
form of football player is buying a bunch of those and donating them too.
Well, even Overton talked about the epitome of a Colts player with McAfee. Is buying season tickets.
Good. I read that. Yeah,
if you don't like them, to give to the children's hospitals.
That's awesome.
But Overton, the former Colts player that stayed after with McAfee that day that I met him, again, I said was the epitome of what a Colts player should be. Again, is showing why he is who he is.
That spirit of philanthropy needs to be more contagious.
You know what? They're not the most popular.
Yeah, but they're not
making the big bucks.
So they don't have to.
But they're making change.
But you know what? Because people like them. They're not the best player on the field.
Right.
They got into the bit.
I don't know. Pat McAfee was the best punter that's ever.
Okay, punter. I said player.
Well, yeah.
Okay, it's the band out.
Exactly.
Analogy, same thing.
Exactly.
Him and Overton are not the best players on the field.
Right.
They're the best at what they do. Absolutely. It's the same thing, and Pat going into, Barstool Sports podcast, comedy, Barstool Sports, and then Made the Gays of Our Lives, and just a lot of this stuff, and it's because we have that same type of personality.
A lot of synchronicities there.
Yeah. And it's just weird. And then I didn't even realize it until I posted on his wall and I was like, hey, look what you started. And I posted that I won the best in Indy. And then I started thinking, I was like, oh my God, he actually won it last year too. And
rest is history.
Yeah. And And
that's awesome.
Yeah. And then I've been in the jumble puzzles. In the newspaper, you guys probably don't know what a newspaper is. You're too young.
It's all on my phone. So.
Right? The jumble puzzle. The guy I met at poker is the artist for that.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. I mean, the guy with the improv, he got the whole State Museum theater for us, and him and I and another guy practiced improv before I auditioned for the Dinner Detective Murder Mystery show that I'm in.
That's wild.
I never acted a day in my life till I was on the set of Baskets.
Yeah.
And that, again, I asked for it, but I stayed after and met Louis that day. Speeding through, we missed the whole story, but I'm speeding through. So anyways, I got to open for Pat my 6th time, Sean Latham my 8th. Then I met Louis a couple months later. He said, send me your set and I'll take a look at it because I was the last comedian there.
Oh, yeah.
And he said, send me your set. And I was like, whatever. You're not going to watch it.
Yeah.
He sent me a message back 45 minutes later and said, give me your phone number. I want to call you and talk to you about your set. He called me the next day. And he has been a friend ever since. We talk and text and everything. Well, I've seen him a couple more times. We went up and saw him in Michigan, skipping through a lot. And the next day he said, will you send me those pictures you took of me in the green room? And I said, yeah. And I said, if you have a small part for a funny homo on baskets, I would be down.
Yeah, I'm in.
And he said, send me your headshot and resume. I didn't have them. I made some stuff up. I went to the people that shot my boudoir shoot and said, do you do headshots? They're like, no, but we'll do it. Let's go. And so they did some headshots and I sent them over, which they're great for comedy. They're not acting headshots.
Yeah.
I didn't have a real resume. I had a one sheet and everything. But in April, I got an email because that day in the green room, I talked to him about fighting for medical marijuana. So, and I said, I've gone to the state house and all this stuff. So that was in the green room in Michigan. And then I said, hey, if you have a part. Well, he reads the script and says, livid protester. He goes, audition my friend.
Right.
Yeah.
That's exactly
Fits
what
like a
happened.
glove.
That's exactly what happened. I asked for it. I put it out there and then it came to me.
Yeah.
And then I second guessed myself so much. Like I said, I want to beat myself.
Oh, yeah.
It's not about beating somebody else. It was
Right.
about being my best. I erased between 500 and 600 takes of a 30-second 6-line audition.
Right.
I almost couldn't stand up.
Just
after I was done.
perfecting it. Yeah.
And then it was a week and I was almost sick. And then I got the email that said, you've been offered the part. And I sobbed. And I mean, I'll start again. So we won't talk about it.
That's cool though. I
But
mean,
yeah.
I think that's something that we forget about as we get older. You miss every opportunity you don't take. And people get so comfortable and you get tunnel vision. Like I just took a huge career change and
It's easy to stay in your comfort zone.
Yeah. And it was a bitch for me to go through that. And, I had to work and it took a lot of effort for me to shift gears like that. But I'm happier than I've ever been. We're doing this and
being on disability. See, and I haven't really been paid in, years.
Right.
The baskets was like the first paycheck I really have gotten. A few little things. Comedy doesn't pay that much.
Yeah.
You make money and you're famous when you have a Netflix special.
Yeah.
You sell,
before that, it's
in the
grinding.
store, the headliners make $30 for a set at the store a lot of times.
Yeah.
So that's their open mic, basically.
I had a friend, Matt Backus, that was the host at Cracker Salon. He's like, I still have to have 2 other jobs.
Well, yeah, but I'm saying,
And he's like, and I'm there every day.
I never wanted to be a comedian. That's not what my end game's ever been.
Right.
I mean, I always wanted to be in a movie with Melissa McCarthy. I wanted to be a funny actor. I didn't know they were the same thing.
Right.
I didn't realize some of my favorite funny actors were comedians.
Yeah.
Sure.
I never realized it because I didn't watch stand-up.
Yeah.
No.
Well, and it's funny that
clue.
plays out the way because, like you said, like a lot of them are introverts. So to do comedy, they are acting. They're pretending to be someone that they're not normally.
Yeah. Well,
So it makes sense that they would be good actors too.
Well, and I don't have a clue. Like I said, I'm so sheltered. I didn't know on set who the guy was that I had befriended that day. And we made friends till he added me on Facebook that night after an 11-hour day. And it was Jonathan from Whose Line Is It Anyways? And Let's Make a Deal. I
Love
had
that
no
show.
concept who that was. I met him in the hair and makeup trailer that day.
He's hilarious on that show.
But no, seriously though, I'm hoping, because it doesn't make that much money to do comedy to start out. And a lot of people do have to have other jobs. I unfortunately was on disability because it got so bad. I am getting better. And that's why I'm like, yes, I want to try this. Let's try this. So as soon as this comes out and I start making money, I'm going to be off disability, which is just so exciting because I make a quarter, if that, of what I used to make. I'm happier than I've ever been.
You were the lead salesperson. Now
I'm happier than I've ever been.
Yep.
I think that's
new identity.
it. Especially if the millennials got one thing right, I would say this idea that you need to live your life for you and not for the company that you work for or your parents or your spouse. You have to do things that are good for you. I like that our culture has taken that shift mentally, at least.
They're taking a lot of the social aspects out by doing the technology though.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I want to still, I love the idea of Carvana.
Yeah.
I love that idea, but I love
car
the
vending
jacked
machine.
salespeople.
Yeah.
I mean, the last car I bought, I got hired to do a sales training for the day. because I was just me. And you know,
You
salesman
were better
walked
than the
up.
car salesman.
Well, yeah. And, you know, it was like, hey, you want to do this? I was like, sure, that's fun. Why not? You know, I don't have anything else I can really do in just an hour.
Can you,
Right.
I was going to say, so can you tell people again if they want to get,
sorry.
Yeah,
No,
you
you're-
got a lot of shit going on right
I
now.
know, it's-
like
So
if
is-
somebody wants to get this stuff, how would you get
My
this
line
CBD?
is not out yet.
Okay.
And so if you go to Denver CBD, it's up on 96th Street in front of Meyer and Fisher's.
We'll put it on our Facebook
Yes.
too.
yeah.
It's called Denver CBD, and you use my name if it's online. Use Lissa with 2 S's, Sears, Lissa 20. You get a 20% off your first order.
Okay.
And then if you go in the store, same thing. Now my line's not out yet.
Okay.
But it's
In the
soon.
works. Yeah.
It's soon.
My
We're waiting on
wife,
the label.
she needs a new thing of CBD, so we'll definitely go on there and do that.
And the thing of it is, they carry other brands, but I don't know why. Seriously, because
Right.
they are, and I've seen it with my own eyes that I've tried all kinds of CBD. I mean, I bought CBD at dispensaries.
There's a lot out
before
there.
You couldn't buy it around
Yeah.
here.
There's a lot out there.
I get spam calls for CBD companies and emails because they know I'm into all that, you know, because they listen to everything we say.
Right.
But
whether or not you want them to.
yeah, well, I don't care. I don't have any secrets.
Yeah,
I tell too much.
Put it all
We've
out
talked
there.
about that before.
I
Like
really don't have too
Fred
many
at the
secrets,
CIA
so-
wants to watch me mow my grass. Go for it.
Yeah,
But
well,
No, he's
you know,
watching you beat off on the toilet every night.
Well, you know, and if they catch me talking to anybody, I tell too much anyway.
sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
So,
There's no
you know,
secrets.
But no, it's you get 20% off your first order. My line will be out hopefully within a month for sure. We're
Okay.
waiting on the label to finish up.
yeah.
Right around the corner.
Picture that they had of me was like, yeah, no.
We
I just wanted
need more.
It was a silhouette. It was supposed to be just. It's supposed to be a silhouette.
Is there anything else that you want to send people
Yeah,
to check out
I don't know,
or
your
promote?
documentary
Oh,
just
well,
came
that's
out.
yeah. We're still looking for funding, and we've got
okay.
some grants coming through for that.
Sure.
Yeah, they're filming a documentary about me, just because my life is kind of crazy, and
Oh yeah.
yeah, and you guys didn't even get the half of it. Sorry, we'll go all day, but it's called Stand Up, Fall Down Comedy.
Okay.
A friend of mine that I used to fight Krav Maga with is the
Oh, yeah.
producer of it, and she
That's
knows
awesome.
how I reacted when I got diagnosed with breast cancer, and that's a whole nother story and everything else, and how I fought through everything, and so she wanted to, show
Document
that,
yeah.
and who I am, and with all the networking. I mean, we did an interview up at Best Bet.
Mm.
The owner there I play poker with. That's how I know her. And now she's a dear friend, and she did an interview. And, we went into Denver and did an interview. And I mean, just
notating your story and
yeah. And why they think so much of me,
Mhm.
Because there's a lot of people that don't.
Yeah.
And sorry, you have to see me so much if you don't like me, because you're not going to ever, you can block me on Facebook, but you're still going to fucking hear about me and see me.
Somebody who's
I'm
gonna bring
sorry if you hate me so much, but
You're doing something right.
and it's fine. I don't care, and that's fine because at least somebody's talking about me too. So.
Yeah.
But
all press is good press.
yeah.
right?
So if anybody's out there and got a lot of money, Stand Up, Fall Down Comedy. I do have an IMDb page
Mhm.
for baskets
yeah, I was
and
checking
that.
that out. That's cool.
And then Homo Sears Comedy is most of the social medias. Homo Sears Comedy. Let's be honest. And what else? Oh, The Gaze of Our Lives. That's our
Gaze of Our
that's
Lives.
the podcast.
That's
Check it out.
podcast
I was
show.
listening today. It's very funny, and I learned stuff. Like I said,
It's very educational.
it is.
because
There's a lot.
I'm an old gay, and I didn't understand all this new stuff and all the new letters that they keep adding.
Mhm.
And so if I don't understand it being a gay,
Right.
how are you
someone
guys
that
going to
doesn't
understand
live in
it?
that world, yeah,
or
sure.
not around it? How are you going to understand it? Now, do I
Absolutely.
always phrase things right? Hell no, because I'm still a comedian and I'm still old.
Yeah.
Do I say things wrong? Absolutely.
Yeah.
But, through this, I've learned to say a lot of things differently and better,
Mhm.
so it doesn't offend people. Which
Absolutely.
is not me, because I just never gave a fuck who I
Yeah.
offended. But I'm learning, and I'm really trying to get better at that.
Mhm.
And it's
It's-
sometimes there's like, I can't quite get over that one. It's funny, and it's not about
Just-
trans or gay or who it is. It's about anybody.
It's just low hanging fruit.
funny.
Yeah.
It's hard. I can't keep my mouth shut.
Well, I think this was one of our best shows. This was awesome.
Yeah,
And we got to thank
definitely.
you a lot for coming out for
Oh, thank
real. You when we posted that, you're like, hey, I'll come do it. So we will show your stuff on the Facebook. He does
Yeah.
all that. And like I said, I'm definitely going to mention that to her about getting some
Absolutely.
CBD, because we do. So If you guys heard all this, like I said, check out the stuff, check out CBD, go watch her comedy, the documentaries, the podcasts, all that. Who's next week? Tony.
I think Tony Foxworthy.
Foxworthy?
Yeah, I think he's coming on
Yay.
next week.
He's great. He's
Juice hooked us up with you and him, and
he's a good
yeah.
good kid.
I've been following his stuff. He's pretty funny.
It's unfortunate that some of the comedians aren't fun people,
right?
To hang out with outside or anything like that. But
Right.
you know, he's a good one. I like him.
Oh yeah. Yeah,
I think that's that's set up then. So thank you again so much, and that's our episode for this week. Whiskey Wagers is out. See you, everybody.
Made you look.
That was awesome.
Sorry it went so long.
No, you're fine. We have our draft coming up at 8.
I told you though.
Is your back okay?
Yeah, that was better. It just sucked for the angle I was trying to do. Oh, it's not my back. It's my hip. I forgot my phone is down there. I already had surgery. It looked like I've been shot.